Alright guys, what's the crack? This is my third attempt to make this video, so hopefully I get it right this time. This video I am talking about the base position, okay? And when I say base position, I mean a position of stability where you're able to change direction. So if we've a good base position, that should facilitate in our ability to go forwards, backwards, left or right. And what a good base position looks like is a position where you've got low center of gravity and your center of mass is nice and low. So as an example, this is a position we're going to be talking about when it's a 2-foot position, or it might be this kind of position if we're in a sprint, or if we're on one leg, it might be a position like so. Okay, so it's a position of stability where your center of mass is nice and low and your center of gravity is nice and low. So to use a simple example of why this is important, if we're racing in a line this way and I'm standing upright like this and you're standing in a position like so, obviously you're going to take off in the first couple of steps and you're going to burn me in the first couple of steps. That's very easy to imagine. Similarly, if I'm here like this and if you're here like this in a good base position and we have to go left or right, this person is going to be able to move left or right and they have lots more control in comparison to this person that's standing upright like so. Okay, so that's basically the fundamentals of a good base position and why it is so important. So when we're talking about GAA, what is a good base position? Typically what we want to do is we want to go feet shoulder width apart and then a little bit extra. Okay, so feet shoulder width apart and then a little bit extra. From there then we're down in this athletic position. Okay, so we're hunching down, we've got good posture. Okay, so our back is nice and upright, we're not overextending like this and we're not rounded here like this. Okay, so we've got that back in neutral and we're here like so. And when we look from the side, we want to see shoulders above knees, above toes. Okay, this is the position we want to be in. We can typically also see a bit of daylight underneath the heels. Okay, so we're on our toes, we're not sitting back on our heels. And you've heard that all before. You know, if you're doing a sprint, you want to be on the balls of those feet, ready to go. You don't want to be sitting back in the heels or else you'll get caught on the first couple of steps. So again, good base position. Feet shoulder width apart and then some. Squatting down, athletic position. Shoulders above knees, above toes. And we're on those toes, a little bit of daylight underneath the heels. Now, from there, let's get a little bit more technical and talk about what kind of force we're putting into the ground and what it should feel like. And what I want you to imagine is like you're standing on a big piece of paper, okay? Again, get into that position. Down here, onto the balls of those feet, just ever so slightly, a bit of daylight underneath the heels. And now I want you to imagine like you're trying to rip that piece of paper apart, okay? So you're going to push out to the side. And that's going to put the weight on the inside of the foot, and that's going to bring the knees inside the toes, and the hips are going to be inside the knees as well, okay? So that's the position we want to be in terms of hips, inside the knees, inside the toes. That's the relationship those three have. And this position then is going to be more efficient in terms of moving left or right and even forwards and backwards versus the opposite. When I put the weight on the outside of my foot, now you see that my knees are almost right above my toes or even outside my toes, and obviously my hips are inside. But this is not the position we want to be in. Okay, so we want to imagine like we're trying to spread the floor or we're trying to rip that piece of paper apart, and that brings us in a nice position here, which is more efficient for changing direction. Okay, so that's our base position. That's what we want to be able to establish. Now it's very similar with single leg, except with the single leg, it's just getting low. Okay, so it's being in that low center of gravity. So if I'm standing up tall like this, my center of gravity is much higher, and if I get a shoulder, it's going to be much more difficult for me to keep my balance. Whereas if I'm down here in this position, and I get some kind of contact, it's going to be much easier for me to stabilize and much easier for me to change direction. Similarly, if I'm standing tall and I get a shoulder, it's more likely that I'm going to have to stumble one direction versus being here, I'm going to be much more stable, be able to absorb that impact. So then when we're talking about some drills to actually teach us these positions, this is the one we like to do. So this is a double leg drop, down, base position. So we have arms up under the air, we're being aggressive with the arms, our feet are barely leaving the floor, and we're landing in that athletic position with the hands behind the body. Base position. Say it again. Base position. Now you can progress that on by adding in a jump, or you can even just make it more aggressive. So if I was to do a more aggressive version, it would look something like so. If I was to add in a jump, it might look like so. Base position. And now if I'm at a jump with a bit of a rotation, base position. And you can see how now that translates over to sport. So if you're jumping up into the air to catch a ball and you're coming down, You want to land in this base position to allow you to go whichever direction you want. If you land tall like this, after catching a ball, someone hits you, you fall over. Or it's going to just take you an extra step or two to pick up that speed. When we're talking about acceleration in the next video, it's going to take that step or two to pick up the speed that you want to be able to break away from the play. We can do the same thing with single leg. So again, single leg drops, arms up in the air, dropping onto single leg. When we get good at that, we can be more aggressive. Again, we're looking to stabilize in that base position. And then we can introduce some lateral movements. So here, and we can jump to the side, stabilize. We can also do a cut, stabilize. And base position and stability are going to be words that will really kind of interlink here. So when you talk about doing your plyos, and you talk about using ladders and doing single leg hops to stabilize, or you talk about doing bounds where you're down in this position and then you bound and then you stabilize, that stability, that base position is going to be really important, because again, that is going to set you up in the right position to be able to accelerate or to be able to change direction rapidly. Typically when I'm doing these drills or double leg drop or my single leg drop, I'm doing them in a warm-up or I'm doing them prior to a plyometric session, and then during the plyometric session I'm incorporating those in my landing. So wherever I'm landing in that base position, or I'm landing here in this base position with single leg, and that's training me every time so that when it comes to a pitch or a game situation, I'm automatically here. Okay, I'm not standing upright when I land. So when I put together some of those plyo sessions, I'll post them up here for you guys. I'll include these drills obviously in my vlogs as well. So if you're watching what I'm doing and you're seeing me doing these balance drills and you're seeing me landing in that stable position, this is the reason why I'm working on it, to get that center of mass low, to get my center of gravity down in order to put me in a good position to change direction or to go forwards. That's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some value out of it. Make sure you like the video if you liked the video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit it in the next like 10-15 days. So do hit subscribe if you want to get us there. The next video is going to be an acceleration, and it's all about going from this base position into a powerful first 3 steps and powering off the mark. So I'm looking forward to that video. I will see you on that one. Until then, take it easy. Slán.
Yes.